What is up, everyone? And welcome back to Titletown Podcast. It's Chase, and I'm here with Christian, and we got a nice day in store for you. So obviously you guys saw Adam and Mike talk about the post-game preview for next weekend, who surprised them the most yesterday about the Pats. Well, today me and Christian are going to go a little bit more deep into what the Patriots' future looks like as we are going to talk about each 5 things we think the Pats can do this offseason coming up. Before we get into this, first off, Christian, what's going on?
Doing pretty good. Ready for the weekend,
Awesome.
Going
Excited
down
for the
Cape,
weekend.
having some fun, Yeah.
Exactly. All right. And then second thing I want to do is, of course, we are presented today by the Instagram Patriots_Nation with 2 underscores following that. Great guy, great account, posts live game updates, Twitter feed, all the whole 9 yards. Great guy. Make sure you follow him. And he's been posting us on his story. So if you do follow him, send us out to your buddies. And, of course, before we get the video started again, like, subscribe, and if you guys want us to talk about topics, tweet at us at Titletown_pod, or you can let in the comments of the YouTube and let us know what you guys want us to talk about. All right, let's get into it. So, Christian, today's topics is very unique. It's more or less choose your own adventure. So, Halfway through the season right now, the Patriots, 3-5, not looking good. At the end of the day, we are in the AFC East, my opinion, second worst division. Obviously, you got the NFC least as the worst.
Yep, exactly.
And then, we Patriots, the Bills are 7-2. Oh, the Miami Dolphins are 5-3. I don't care. They are not good. All right, Tua is trash. I'm saying that he's overhyped. ESPN loves to hype him up. He's obviously not the worst quarterback in the league. I'd obviously rather have him than, Brian Hoyer. Shout out to Brian Hoyer. And I'm not threatened by this Bills team. Granted, they just destroyed the Seahawks. But look what if we're that bad of a 3-5 team, look what we did to them. We lost on a Cam Newton fumble, 20 seconds left in the game, 4 seconds left in the game. Could have won that game, so I'm not too worried about that. So let's do first one. We'll go you first, and then I'll go. And so let's go. One thing that we think that the Pats should do in the offseason to prepare for a better 2021 season. And of course, we're not saying, I'm not out here saying that the season's over and throwing the white flag. We're just let's get some juices flowing, look at something that's not just last week and next week.
Yeah, so I think the thing that when you watch a Patriots game, what stands out the most, besides, of course, the Jets game with Jacoby Myers going off, the skill positions are lacking. They need to be upgraded either through the draft, through free agency, or through trades. They just need to do something to get either star or above average running back, wide receiver, to give whoever's going to be quarterback next year an option, that number one guy, because hopefully maybe Myers can fill that role. But as of now, no one's there.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that. And so this is obviously we're only first one in, but I don't want to get a little ahead of myself now. But so here's my thing with the receivers. I'm going to address that. So my first one and my second one essentially is, obviously we know all the Pats quarterbacks are on 1-year deals, or it's Jared Stidham. So we don't know what's happening there. So my thing is right now that I absolutely agree. I'm very comfortable with our running back committee. I don't know if Burkhead's going to be back next year. I don't know if Michelle's going to get cut. I don't know if White's going to get cut. But I'm very comfortable with our running back committee. I think it's a pretty above average running back committee. But I do agree, it doesn't hurt. I bet you we draft someone in the draft, like a 4th round pick, someone that like someone from university of whatever that could obviously produce. But as I've seen in the past, I don't know how much you've seen, Christian. Belichick doesn't really play running backs when they're rookies, so he's obviously going to go out and sign a guy to a nice deal, a very team-friendly deal that he likes. So I think that is what's going to happen with the running backs. But then obviously you get to skill positions, and I'm going to throw tight end in here because Ryan Izzo is horrible, and Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, I like them. I like them a lot, but they haven't been healthy yet, and I don't know how good they're going to be. I'm very confident they can be above average tight ends as we progress. I don't think we're ever going to get another Gronk talent ever.
Yep.
I'm not saying that the Pats might not get a guy like in 10 years I know, but there's not really a Gronk type talent out in the draft that I see, and I don't see any. Tight end's the kind of position that if you're an elite tight end, you're not going anywhere. Your team's not letting you walk. So what I would say is obviously get, at least two wide receivers. And so here's where I want to segue into my second one. We obviously need a new quarterback. So I don't want to say draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't want to say draft a quarterback in the fourth round. I don't want to say sign a quarterback. But whoever our next quarterback is going to be, I want us getting one of his favorite weapons, whether it be we trade for Matt Ryan. I want us trade for Julio too. If we, trade for if we trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, if Jimmy Garoppolo gets cut, I want us to try and get, one of his favorite playmakers, because I think something that's very, very underappreciated and not a lot of people that understand is that, you're a rookie quarterback. You come into a team, you're just stuck with the receivers you have. That happens anywhere. It happens in college. But the thing that I think teams don't do well is when they draft a quarterback, a rookie quarterback, you have to get at least one guy from his school. At least one guy from his school, just to make his transition a little bit easier. An example is Dwayne Haskins. Obviously, he's not starting anymore, but the Redskins football team took Terry McLaurin, who was not even his favorite target, but they took him in the draft, and look how good he is. Obviously, Haskins isn't playing, but it's just like the kind of thing where you can't help your quarterback out too much. Obviously, you want him to be how good he is ever, but you need to surround him with familiar weapons, at least when he joins a new team. You don't find a lot of guys. I mean, obviously the Pats right now, we're not like what Brady did when he walked into Tampa with that unbelievable just arsenal.
And what did they do? They brought in Gronk. They knew
exactly
to make Tom fit better, they needed someone that he could gel with quick right off the bat, and they brought in number 87 and put him in, and they've always been that dynamic duo, and they just brought it down south.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not even asking for us to take this if we're going to draft a guy. I'm not even asking for this to be our second pick or our third. It could be a seventh round. You know what I mean? But you want to at least get them someone that they are familiar with, because, Lord knows it could be the next Terry McLaurin, who obviously is a very good top 15 wide receiver. And, the quarterback doesn't even need to pan out at that point if you got a guy like that.
Yeah.
So that's just my 1 and 2. So what's your second one going to be?
So my second one has got to be surrounding the defense, where they have a great secondary. Whether Gilmore stays or not within the next season, we don't know for sure. But that front seven and having people come back from opting out of the season, coming back and still being ready to play is a big part, because Dante Hightower is getting old. Most of the defensive players are getting old. So for them to keep playing at a high level and to come back playing just like they were 2 years ago for their sake, it's a big moment, because if all of a sudden your defense just basically evaporates, you're going to have to do something to either build it through free agency now and take that chance that they won't be the same and start paying big contracts over a ton of different positions at the front seven, or you can take that risk that all these players from 2 years ago are going to be the same talent that they once had. So it's kind of a judgment on Bill's part, where is he either going to trust the people that he know can perform and hope that they get back to their playing ways, or is he going to try and take a kind of a safer route, pay a little bit more money, but get the people that he knows can play now and knows can fit into the system. And one more thing, what you were saying about gelling better. Chemistry is a huge part on offense. We've seen time and time again with quarterbacks and wide receivers getting tied up and not knowing who's supposed to be where. What I take most from it is since I'm a Vikings fan, I look back at last year and I think of the Stephon Diggs, Kirk Cousins dilemma. That within a locker room is horrible. That's why they got rid of him. Even that he's a great player and he's doing incredible in Buffalo, because Josh Allen matches
receiving right now.
Yeah, Josh Allen matches exactly what he needs to just throw it up to the best player. Kirk was he goes through his options, and if there's a bad throw, he's not going to throw it. But what Diggs wants, he wants the ball. So kind of with Cam, I don't know if he's going to be quarterback next year or anyone else either in the draft or free agency. They got to make sure they have someone that can kind of play to the quarterback's standards and to the quarterback's strengths.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is what they're doing so in Buffalo. They went out and got their guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as you said, obviously that was very relevant. But I'll go into my third now, and I absolutely agree with you. The front seven in New England is atrocious right now. It's horrible. And we do have, Hightower coming back, but the thing about the NFL is the average career span is, I'm pretty sure it's still 3 years. So the safest way to say
it's
3 years,
low.
Yeah, we'll say 3 years of their prime. Hightower is either going to be 30 or 31 next year. I'm putting my money on him being 31. Pretty sure he's not 29 right now, but he might be. So regardless, he's obviously on the later half of his career, and it's not like we don't expect him to come back, and he's never been an all-pro. So it's not like I'm expecting him to come back, but he's always been that cog, that big guy in the middle he's just a downhill linebacker. And that's the thing. Look back at what the Pats did under Belichick in that span, obviously 2014. That defense was nasty. I have a list of that defense on my notes just because it's like, how did the Pats have a defense like that? And the thing is, no one can deny this. And if you deny this, you're a fool. Defense wins championships. Offense wins games. So you look at the Pats. We won the Super Bowl against the Rams because we only allowed them 3 points. If you allow 3 points a game, you're going to win 9 games out of 10. You don't know if you're going to get like a random defense that's even better than yours.
Game.
Exactly. Like the thing is, there's a fine line too. So you don't want to be the Broncos the year after Peyton Manning retired and you got Trevor Siemian as your quarterback. Your defense can only do you so much. That's why they win championships and offense win games. So we have the secondary. Which is a lot, it's a fair trade. Would you rather get ran all over or pass over? I would rather get ran all over because that's a really easier job. If you're just getting picked apart, there's nothing you can do. That's deflating. So we have that secondary. And another thing, and we haven't mentioned it yet because I feel like this is a very, very appropriate place to mention this. The Pats will have the fourth most cap space heading into free agency next year. Christian, you remember those numbers, right? How much money it was?
It's 73 total million with cap holds going over. So they'll have money to spend in free agency. So whether they go out and get a playmaker on D or a skill position, they really can't go wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I absolutely agree. And this is going back to my first one and our first one about the playmakers. So this is about the all three. The Pats have money, but the thing you don't want to do is start paying people that just don't deserve that kind of money. And the NFL is very good about this because you can cut a player and you don't got to worry about that money. Whereas like in the NBA, you cut a guy, you're screwed. You still got to pay him. Your caps, you might as well keep him. So the thing that the Pats, this is why it's 3 for me, is you need to build that front seven. Look what the front seven for the 49ers did for them last year. It brought them to the Super Bowl. Obviously couldn't hold on and win, but a mean front seven makes the quarterback stressed out when they're under pressure, and they'll start throwing balls they typically won't throw, and those balls will be over. Those balls will be under. Those balls will be left and right to the receiver, and that's how you get that's how you get picks. And you know what? We already have, again, in my opinion, best secondary in the league. So you start getting pressure on this quarterback, he's going to be throwing 2, 3, 4 picks a game. Not every time, assuming if you still play a great quarterback here and there, and that's the thing. So what's yours? Third recommendation, Christian?
They got to keep their O-line intact. They can't lose anyone there. That's their best spot besides their secondary when Gilmore plays. But their O-line is so good, and most of them are pretty young right now. So if they can keep that intact within the next few years, keeping their cap low, keep being able to spread their wealth within other players on defense and the skill positions that we talked about, then they're going to be set up for the future 5 or 6 years. Because O-linemen, they also tend to stay into their mid-30s, maybe even high 30s, if they're good enough and they don't get hurt. So if they can keep people healthy on that front five, hopefully David Andrews sticks around for a little bit longer than he's probably going to, getting old. But they have a really good front five, and if they can keep that, they'll be set for a few more years for them to figure stuff out before they can kind of, I don't know, find this new era Patriots that they can work with.
Yeah, so this is back and forth what we're agreeing on these. That's exactly what I was going to say next. For my number 4 is also keep the O-line tack, and you raised very great points there. So technically, the oldest tackle or O-lineman in our team is Marcus Cannon, but he's mid-30s, 33. I don't expect the Pats to keep paying him next year because he has an enormous hit on our thing, especially when we drafted Onwenu. And he is just disgusting. He is not even – you can't even argue that he's the best rookie lineman. And he's a top 5 lineman. He honestly might be the top lineman on Pro Football Focus. I don't know if that is, but he was for a solid amount of time. So – and then the second oldest is David Andrews, who's 29, 28. So the Pats we look really good in the O-line. And the thing is, O-lines make or break teams. You see teams that win the Super Bowl. Again, obviously defense wins championships. But you have a great O-line that just gives your quarterback time to find the right guy. And, no one loves an O-line better than the quarterback and just the coach because you don't got to worry about mishaps. And so not even to mention that, we have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of young guys that aren't even playing right now on the O-line that definitely are talented enough to take a position away. Tooney is a free agent next year. I would be okay with moving on from him because we have options, and I'd rather spend that money elsewhere on like a pass rusher, someone we definitely need.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Tooney isn't good. He absolutely is good. He's an elite O-lineman. He will get paid like an elite O-lineman because he is one. But it's the cap. That's how the cap works. You got to pick and choose your battles. And you're absolutely right about spreading the wealth. And we have guys like locked in, and we have money we can gain from cutting Cannon. I wouldn't be surprised if Bill doesn't, but I think he should. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah. So what's your 4th one, Christian?
The 4th one is just to stay competitive now. Obviously, you saw, I think in the first half of this Jets game, everyone was going, oh, shoot, we got a tank. Like, this is over. The Jets are beating us. This is all hell was breaking loose within New England. But since they came back and won that game, they still might have a chance to make the playoffs. CBS gives them a 9.6% chance. But
it's better than 0.
It's better than 0. And in the AFC East, you never know. Someone could fall flat for the second half of the year and just lose. Tua could flop in the second half of his year, or the Bills' luck could run out. They did beat Seattle last week, which was a huge win, don't get me wrong. But the Seattle defense has been torched by literally everyone they play. So that win, they did contain Russ a little bit, and maybe I think they picked him off once or twice. But beating the Seahawks defense it's
not what it
to
used
brag
to be.
about.
Yeah.
So, yes, exactly. It is not nowhere near the Legion of Boom anymore. So the Pats I'm looking at their schedule right now. They have Baltimore next week at home. So I know the home games don't really matter much without fans, but obviously being in Foxborough, they're going to like that. After 3 weeks, they have a 3-game all road, twice in LA playing the Chargers, Rams, and then going to Miami. That's going to be the pivotal stretch where they got to at least win 2, if not all 3 of those games. Because if they lose both, either to Miami or to the Rams or whatever combination it is, then their season's over no matter what. They should just be looking ahead for free agency and to the drafts, looking for what moves. But if they can pull out, if they can beat Baltimore, Houston, or Arizona, if they can pull 2 out of those 3 and then 2 of the next 3, they have a good shot going the last 2 weeks against Buffalo and the Jets at home, maybe going 9-7.
Yeah. So this isn't really my fifth one, but I want to touch up when you said you're absolutely right. And the thing that people, I don't know how many people think this, but the Bills have not won the division. They are 7-2. Great record, great winning percentage, but at the end of the day, they can go 7-9. They could lose it. There's a rookie quarterback in Miami, and I don't know how talented that team is. So I have no faith in them either. And obviously we're 3-5. I'm not going to come out here and say that we are in great position right now to win the division. No, we are not. But you are absolutely right. And obviously, and see, this is my opinion. I think every game is a must win just in general. If it's you're 0-0 and whether you're 15-0, because every game you win, it's one less win you need down the stretch when those games become more important. So we are playing Baltimore. I would never pick against the Patriots, but that is going to be a very difficult game to win. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to say we're going to lose. It's going to be very difficult to win. And the thing is now, Baltimore doesn't look as good as they normally do. So I have a lot of faith. And if we beat Baltimore, go 4-5, I'm not going to say it's going to be smooth sailing by any means, but it is looking good. The future is continuing to look bright. We have a hard schedule. And, I saw a article saying the Pats will win 2 more games max. That is the most reasonable we can be. I don't agree with that at all. I think that we just squeaked out of New York Jets. So obviously we're not tip top shape, but we saw the Patriots had fun at the end of that game. And I think there's a lot more jazz. The winning culture's back in Foxborough. And everyone, I tweeted out, Cam Newton doesn't look like he wants to be here. Prove me wrong. He proved me wrong. That's the only disclaimer I'm going to say about that tweet. But yeah, so there's that. And I absolutely agree with you. It's win now.
Yeah,
and
it's
obviously
too early to wave the white flag.
Exactly. We still have that 9% chance. A lot of teams don't have 9%. And obviously 9% is not good percent. It's less than 1/10. But it is still a chance to get in. And you know what? If anyone can do it, it would be us. All right.
Yep.
So I'm going into my fifth and final one, then you'll go into your fifth and final one. So my fifth and final one is that obviously we're looking for this is the future. This isn't, current what's happening right now. So my future outlook is we need to find the balance between drafting, and we need to just draft better overall. And we need to find the balance between drafting and spending free agent money, because obviously we have the money to do it. So, we have the draft capital to get some serious talent. So here's what I'm going to get more specific about this. In the past, we have traded a third round pick, a second round pick, a fourth round pick for a player who is in the final year of his rookie deal, who looks like an above average player. I'm talking about Coney Ely. Is that Coney Ely? Is that his name? Yeah, Coney Ely. I'm talking like a Cassius Marsh. I'm talking about, obviously Mohamed Sanu, but that's not the only one. I mean, we have traded for players that frankly should not have been traded. We should not have traded for. And every pick that we give up like that, it's one less guy you got coming into Foxborough that could be the next big thing. I do not know what those picks turn into, but still, it's still one more guy you can mold. You can choose your own thing. I don't want us to go out in free agency and spend every single dime on, overpriced players. And that thing is, I'm not worried about that because it's not what Belichick does. He finds the right guys, do it. But I want us to be less selective on our guys and maybe go after a guy who's more proven, not a guy who is a Patriots player who is fine with doing 15 snaps a game. We need to go out and make a splash. And when I say make a splash, I don't mean that we need to go out and trade for the top wide receiver and the top defensive end, because trading isn't everything. Obviously, the NFL loves to trade, but we need to go out and be smart with our money, but we also need to make a splash. And when it comes to drafting, how about we don't trade back? How about we don't trade up? How about we see what we have, evaluate what we have, and not pick the best guy that we like? That's a very dangerous path. I'm not saying we take the best guy that we see value in. I say we just take the best available player and roll with it. Love Winovich, and I love all the other guys we've picked, but there's a difference between a value pick, which is something you do when you trade back, and there's a difference between a reach, which is a player you think you really like, and then you draft them and they're not well, and you realize that guy wasn't going to go until the very next round. Like I remember a couple years ago, there's evidence or not evidence. There's rumors that we were going to take Sterling Shepard in the first round if we had a pick. No, thank you at all. You don't take the guy you think is best. I think we got to find like the median between value and just best overall pick. So yeah, that's my fifth one.
My last one is Cam's play. If they want to be anywhere close to playoff contention, he's got to play like he did on Monday. He was basically dotting up the Jets, obviously, because, the Jets, but he came out slinging. He threw balls that were not even close to getting incomplete because he threw, I don't know how many consecutive it was, but it was over 10 at least.
Yeah.
Straight completions, and he hadn't thrown an incomplete pass, I think, for more than a few drives. And then for him in the red zone to just lower his shoulder and pound the rock through twice, I think that's a good sign for Patriots fans, knowing that Cam is kind of committed now. I was going to mention your tweet about Cam's play, and that second half kind of proved you wrong and kind of put you in a deer in headlights. Like, where did this Cam come from? He was not here the past 5 weeks. This is a Seattle Cam we saw many weeks ago. This is not the Bills Cam. This is not they're just previous times we saw Cam play. But if he can establish Jacoby Myers as that first option, they get gelling, and then balance it out with Harris and Burkhead getting equal touches, and that kind of sets their offense up for success by keeping the defense on edge, whether Cam's going to keep it and be elusive and complete passes left and right, or if they're just going to pound it with Burkhead and Harris. So that's my last one.
Yeah, that's I absolutely agree on all of that. And just to talk about, just to elaborate more on what you were saying, I absolutely agree about the Cam Newton stuff. And when I sent that tweet, I was angry. I was like, this is atrocious. Like, we're about to lose the Jets. And I wasn't saying prove me wrong. Like, I want Cam not to prove me wrong. I want him to prove me wrong. I want to win these games too.
Just a heat of the moment, passionate tweet.
Yeah. Exactly. And you know what he did? He proved me wrong, and I'm not upset about him proving me wrong. I will admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong. And you know what? Now we're 3-5. We're not 2-6. So, yeah. And the difference between Cam and what we saw is that he looked like he was having more fun. He looked like he was jazzed up. He looked comfortable. You know what I mean? Yeah. He looked like he knew what to do, like he used to know what he used to do. Yeah. All right. So there's our 5. Any last comments before we end this segment?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Hope you enjoy the content. And remember, like, subscribe, and share it with your friends if you want to. If you like this content, you guys want us to talk about anything, make sure you comment it below. Make sure you tweet at us. I don't know how to say it. I don't know Twitter well at all, but make sure you send us what you want us to talk about. And we're absolutely talking about it.
_pod. Titletown
exactly.
_pod.
I will throw it at the end of this video.
Tweet anything at us, reply to us, and we'll reply, have some conversations online.
Exactly. We're here for you guys too. So again, thank you so much, Christian. Thank you for joining. And we don't want to forget our sponsor again, Patriots _nation, 2 underscores following that. Great account, and we're happy to be brought by him. And obviously, we'll see you guys next time. We'll got some more videos out there.